Hey everybody, this is Lynn from A Bit of Birdsong, and I am in the workshop for a few minutes on a break. I love being able to come out here, even if it's just for 15 minutes, to work on something or listen to the birds, and it's just wonderful. I'm so grateful for this little spot. Anyway, I wanted to just say hello before I share a fabulous journal that's going into the shop today. All right, see you in a little bit. Okay, move that out of the way. This is another really large journal, so I hope we can get it all in frame and that you can see everything. I love to do these flow journals for the shop. It is a wonderful way for me to be able to be creative and put together a theme of ephemera and papers and fabric and make it exciting for the recipient to be able to enjoy it as a book before they decide to take it apart and use it. The more I work with flow journals, the more I love them. And hey to my good boo Betty, and I love you for your influence and everything and for your sweetheart. So I think you'll like this one. Okay, just making sure it's all in frame. Can you hear the birds? I love sitting in here because they're just right outside the studio door. Okay, so this journal again is weighing in at about 3 pounds. The cover, I just love this image. It is from a wallpaper sample book, and it is showing a picture of the wallpaper being used, and it looks like a lady's dressing room. You can see this beautiful peach colored slip with the lace trim and the peach wallpaper in the background. It is just beautiful. And in order to make it sturdy enough to hold some signatures, I did stitch around the edge and put some fabric on the inside, which again, you could cut inside the stitching, just making sure we're in frame. You could cut inside the stitching and you would have a piece of fabric, and you could also use this, or use it like it is. This journal I was kind of calling beautiful because that is the very first little card that you see. A bird just flew in here and right back out. They do that sometimes because I have these huge doors. I just love the birds. So, and again, if you haven't heard me say this before, my shop name, A Bit of Birdsong. I love birds. I always have, but also one of my first ancestors in the country was a Vogelsang, which is birdsong in German, and they changed it to birdsong, so I think that's really neat. So every page is full of just beautiful cards, envelopes. There's a piece of tea-stained paper, little tags, papers that will tie in with just fashionable, beautiful ladies and their world, I guess. There are some large pictures and small pictures in here of houses that are just gorgeous. There are things that you might find around a beautiful estate. There's more wallpaper, cardstock, and I'll try to go through here fairly quickly. There is a lot in here, but again, there are just some little journaling cards and wallpaper samples. There's a fabric flower there, more cardstock, and just beautiful images, a couple of lace doilies. That's from an old book. I love that piece of jewelry. It says Iron Crown, but isn't that gorgeous? Can you imagine a ring like that? Oh, it's just beautiful. And there's an old piece of transparent paper that was stuck to the back of this actually to mount it for an art thing that came from a college, I think. Oh, and look, there's some of that beautiful, beautiful wallpaper, that peachy. That is what is on the front. It's a nice heavy wallpaper. There's an old envelope for photograph prints and an old postcard in there. There's an image there. This again is from, let me show you. I have these old record album holders, and this is a pocket fashioned from one of those pages. More cards, more cardstock, magazine pages, wallpaper. There's more fabric, pieces of ribbon, beautiful magazine pages. That's from a soap box, just like those colors. And you can see there's an old library card catalog card. Just lots of images of beautiful women, fashions from different times, some birds. These are what would be pet birds, and I can imagine a big ornate cage and a big house. Look at this wallpaper. It's just so beautiful. I love that contrast there. I would like to have a room with that, actually. Maybe someday. Here we go with more wallpaper. Those are some large book pages from a Norman Rockwell book. I love the little girl looking in the mirror. There's a large piece of fabric. You can tell it's folded several times, of vintage Jaclyn Smith designer fabric. And this is a large calendar page from a 1980s calendar with Victorian houses on it. It's an old Sears Roebuck page. There's some, this looks like wrapping paper with the ginkgo. That looks like ginkgo leaves. I think that's what that is. There's another part of that calendar. And that pretty ribbon trim got flipped over, I guess. More bird pages, and just gorgeous, gorgeous large room in an estate house or castle. Another library card catalog card. There's an old postcard. It's really neat. It says, written to Antoinette, Antoinette's mother. They had breakfast in this, I guess that, I don't know what that says. Anyway, look at that handwriting. That is so beautiful. Oh my gosh. It's old, the old stamp, the old handwriting. More wallpaper and wrapping paper. And there's some neat cards in here from a flip fashion book. Lots of pages with roses. There's the other side of that fabric. And what would a large journal about beautiful women be without a page of poisonous plants? You just never know what you might need in your arsenal. I love this. There's an old postcard with the lady up on the rocks and her suitor in a boat below. There's another Sears Roebuck page, wallpaper, book pages, some more cards. And I love this. I love this. Have we really changed that much? This is modern and this is old, and they look like they could be sisters. There's some more of that beautiful trim, and another plant page. There's a vintage button packet or card. Beautiful wallpaper. There's some music. A few pages of that. It's really old. It's very delicate. So you would want to scan it maybe, or sew it onto something, or glue it onto something. I mean, I don't think it's going to just crumble, but it is old and delicate. There's a couple of pages from Romeo and Juliet, and there's a little bag that has 3 of the vintage millinery leaves. That is the front piece of a rose book about roses, and more roses, more roses. Oh, I love them. I want a rose garden this year, but I don't know if I can have one. I don't have a place that gets enough sun that is fenced in, and that's what I would have to have with the deer. There is a pretty card that is filled with this gold ribbon trim, some more journal cards, another page of the plants, roses, beautiful trim. And there is another Norman Rockwell with just a glamorous lady there surrounded by men asking her questions. Beautiful little porcelain figurine with a beautiful face. Another piece of fabric. And these cards, again, they're greeting cards that are blank, but they have the old houses. And this opulent piece of fabric. It's a sample. It's kind of a large square. It has tape around the inside, so this part may not be usable. You may have to cut it down. So just be aware of that. But it is a nice big square, and even just cutting from the inside, you may have some raveling, but sure you can figure out a way to use that. I left these cards just in case you want to incorporate those. More cardstock and calendar page, and a book page. There's another big calendar page and a book page. Piece of velvet with a couple of leaves from a flower, or petals I should say. There's another beautiful fabric piece. Two more fabric pieces. There's the other side of that gorgeous fabric, and this is so complimentary. There's a little fabric piece and a piece of old lace. Another book page or two, and that is it. It's got a lot in it, a whole lot, and you probably noticed there are a couple of paper clips with the little charms. I don't believe, yeah, there's another one. And there are many just plain paper clips in here. And you can see the tassel trim on the front. There's a lot of ribbon tied into this. So this is going into the shop very shortly. And thank you so much for stopping in and spending your time with me. I really appreciate it. And I will talk to you next time. Bye.